All right, everybody, welcome back. Good afternoon. Hope you guys are doing well. And we've got some more free agents to look at here today. And earlier today, we did backup left tackle slash swing tackle. So this video is going to be all about left guard. And there's an interesting decision to make here at left guard, not with the starter. Obviously, Gray Zabel seems pretty entrenched there. There was a time where maybe we could have had a discussion about Zabel moving to center. I don't think that's going to happen at this point. He was good enough last year to where I think he sticks at left guard. But you got to decide now, are you comfortable with either Mason Richman or Bryce Cabeldue as his backup? Because I imagine it's one of those two guys, and we don't know too much about either guy yet. So do you feel comfortable with those guys having to play a little football? Or I guess you could throw Christian Haynes in there as well if something were to happen to Gray Zabel. All right, guys, before we go any further into the video, I want to take a minute to tell you guys about my friends over at Sleeper. Sleeper is a one-stop shop for all your sports needs. Download the app to your phone. You can celebrate and chat about sports in real time with other users. You can get scores, news, and alerts with blazing fast speed. And you can play in daily fantasy leagues and win real money on picks contests. So enjoy sports together. Download Sleeper today, and don't forget to use my promo code SBN for up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Plus, they currently have a free $20 entry, no deposit required, just make an account. Terms and conditions do apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states and growing. So check out Sleeper and have fun with sports this year. So if you want to do a little bit better than what you have, if you're thinking maybe you move off of Richmond or Cabeldue, which is very possible, you could do that. Here are some options in free agency you can sign. Let's start with John Simpson. He's probably the best of the potential backup left guards you can get. Didn't have a great year last year, but he's blocking for Justin Fields, and he started the whole season. So if you can get this guy as your backup, you're doing pretty well. I don't know if he's a great scheme fit, but he's only going to be, I think, 29 this year. Yeah, he's turning 29 this offseason. You are going to have to pay a premium here. 1 year, 6.3 million for a backup is tough, but if you want to go a little bit hog wild here, John Simpson is your guy. So that's worth monitoring. Also, another kind of high-priced backup would be Brady Christensen of the Panthers. Played a little bit last year. Not a starter, not a permanent starter anyway, but ended up playing fairly well when he did play. Kind of been pushed out of Carolina by them signing two really expensive guards over there. So I think he'll be moving on this offseason, and he's another backup that you're going to have to pay a pretty decent price for. And even though it feels like he just entered the league not that long ago, he's about to turn 30 in September. So 1 year, 5.5 million. If you want to splurge a little bit on your backup left guard, this is a good candidate as well. Probably somebody that I would target if you want to go this direction. Next guy is Chris Paul in Washington, not Chris Paul Jr., our Chris Paul. This is the other Chris Paul, and he had a very interesting season. Excellent pass block grade, abysmal run block grade. Kind of came out pretty bad overall, but there is some good stuff going on here, and he's played better in previous years, right? Not stellar or anything, but he's been better in well, not that year, but he's been a little bit better in some previous years. 2024 didn't play a lot, but was a little bit better. So Chris Paul probably going to be a backup going forward. I don't think he's going to be a starter anymore because even his best isn't all that great. But 2 years, 9.4 million according to Spotrac. He is entering his prime age-wise, so I guess I kind of see it. I don't think he's going to get a multi-year deal though, and I don't know if he's going to get this much money. So worth kicking the tires, but there seems to be a pretty low ceiling here. Brett Tott, Brett Tott of the Philadelphia Eagles played a little bit of football for them last year and was good. So there's a little bit of a there's reason to believe this guy can be serviceable for you if you sign him as your backup left guard, and he's going to get a little more money than some of these other guys, but 1 year, 4 million for a reliable backup left guard is, I think, pretty fair. About to turn 30, shouldn't be like over the hill yet or anything like that. Um, not a bad option. This is a mouthful. Coyote Awosika of the Detroit Lions played almost 300 snaps last year, was okay, serviceable, tolerable. Previous years, I mean, there isn't a lot to go on. He's never played a lot of football, but he's always played a little bit, and he's been relatively workable most of this time. Spotrac has him at 1 year, 2.9 million. So now we're getting into more of the pure backups. These are just kind of like random grab bags of players that you're trying to find the one guy that you think is going to be okay, and you're hoping you get away with it. Realistically, you're hoping that Gray's Abel doesn't get hurt, but you're trying to find the guy here who can at least stay on the field and not get blown off of it if something does happen. So Coyote's kind of the first guy of that group to me. Moving along to the next guy would be Robert Jones, and he didn't play last year. Last time he played was 2024, where he did actually start the whole season and was kind of sort of workable. Obviously not super exciting, but last time he did play, he at least was able to stay on the field. And because he missed all of 2025, you can get him pretty cheap, 1 year, 2.5 million. So, I mean, that's probably worth it for a guy who is at least a below average starter in the league, but probably overqualified or maybe just about properly qualified to be a backup. Dylan Raduns of the Saints is also a free agent this offseason. This is a guy I remember really liking in the draft, and it just never really came together for him. He did play a lot last year for the Saints, but he was not good, as you can see. Previous years, never really. I mean, there have been moments where he's been all right, but it's been a lot more bad than good. But there is some talent here. And again, I remember coveting him in that draft class. But now he's what, 27, going to turn 28 in about a month. So he's in his quote unquote prime. And if you're getting him as a backup, I think you're doing okay. 1 year, 2.5 million. That's okay. I can live with that. I can work with that. So Dylan Raduns, I think he's on the table here as like a flyer that you pick up to be a backup, and you see maybe if you can work a reclamation project. Stranger things have happened. Dalton Risner, we've been talking about this guy for years. Maybe this is the offseason we finally get him. He's coming off a good year with the Bengals. So much so, I almost wonder if somebody's going to give him a little bit more money than Spotrac's expecting. He was above average to good in both categories in 2025, and he played most of the year. And you go back to like 2024, he was okay that year too. I mean, right? He's got a track record of being pretty, even at his worst, he's workable. And at his best, he's actually a quality, capable starter. So Spotrac has him at 1 year, 2.4 million, which is backup money. And I know he's going to be 31, so age is a concern. I wonder if Risner gets more than this and he ends up being like either a really high level backup and somebody that can play both guard spots, or maybe he ends up being a starter even. Ben Barchk, I'm probably mispronouncing that name, I'm sorry, but most recently with the Niners, gave them 200 pretty good snaps last year. You go back through his career, there's some pretty good stuff, some pretty mediocre stuff. Doesn't look like, yeah, he never really bottomed out or anything, so this is a workable guard backup, and I think he's on the table here. He's never played, he didn't play enough last year to get a big payday. Spotrac has him at 1 year, 2.4. If you're getting Ben Barshk and he's relatively and he's not starting for you, I think you're doing quite well. So 2.4 million, you're definitely going to get your money's worth there. Okay, taking us home here, we've got Teven Jenkins, and this is a really interesting one, right? Because Teven Jenkins has been a very good player in this league, has had issues staying healthy, but he's been good when he's on the field. And he was good for the Browns last year, according to PFF, when he was on the field. He was really well graded, and it was over 300 snaps. It's not a tiny sample size. You go back to 2024, he played most of the season for the Bears and was also quite good. But for whatever reason, teams are just not willing to open up their wallet for this guy. They didn't do it last offseason. Botrac doesn't think they're going to do it this offseason either. 1 year, 2.3 million at 28 years old for a guy who was a round 2 pick, by the way. I don't know what's going on here. I mean, he must have terrible medicals or something, but 1 year, $2.3 million for Teven Jenkins and this quality of play? Yes, yes, please, sign me up. His medicals must be awful, but even with that, I would take the risk. Tristan Colin, I remember maybe it was a year or two ago, he was on Spotrac as a $50 million guy, which was, I think, like a glitch in their system because he did not get that. And he has, well, I mean, 2024, he was good. He didn't play a ton, but he did play a decent amount. And he's been a serviceable player, but 2025 did not treat him well. Not that he played that much anyway, so I wouldn't read too much into it. But according to Spotrac, now you're going to get him for nothing. And he's 28, so he's in his prime, 1.6 million for 1 year, viable left guard option. Final guy we're going to talk about here is Aaron Stinney of the New York Giants, graded okay last year, but he barely played. Go back to 2024, a year where he actually played a little bit more, and it gets pretty bad. 2023, not particularly good either, and this was a year where he actually started for a lot of the year. It's not great, but this is kind of like scraping the bottom of the bargain bin, right? You get Aaron Stinney, he's going to cost right around the vet min. They have him 1 year, 1.6 million, which seems reasonable to me. Seems like that could happen. And if you get Aaron Stinney, I mean, he's physically capable of playing the position, I guess. That's about the nicest thing I can say. But at this point, if you're going to go with a guy like Aaron Stinney, you may as well just roll with Cabeldue or Richman, I will admit. But there are a lot of guys here that I would be more excited about than either of those guys. Or at this point, Christian Haynes. So pick your fighter, get behind who you want to get behind, and if you want to bolster your depth at guard, then do it. All right. I will see you guys later. Go Hawks. Everybody have a good rest of your day. And at least one more video, well, at least two more videos. We're going to do one more free agency primer video. Then we're going to call it good until something big changes. See you guys then. Go Hawks. Everyone have a good rest of your day.